Welcome to SEC Football Live here on the 440 Sports Network. That is Trey Wallace of Outkick. I am Braden Gall. We are brought to you by M.L. Rose. Good afternoon, Trey. How are you, sir?
I'm good, buddy. It's good to join you today. Not much to talk about, so this probably should be a short show. And,
nothing to talk about.
There's nothing going on in college football, especially in the SEC.
Dynasties are apparently dead, according to Lane Kiffin,
Yep.
Whitweek's daddy. And obviously, Ty Simpson is a hero. Still no interceptions on the season. I do have a question, I think, that is, I hope, the most interesting one we should be asking about Ty Simpson and Alabama as they go on the road and beat Georgia. They will play Vanderbilt, and, of course, we'll talk about that game because there are folks descending on Nashville to write stories about Vanderbilt as they go to game day against Alabama, unlike anything I've ever seen. In fact, I had lunch today at M.L. Rose, of course, our great and amazing sponsor, and was chatting about you with this other reporter buddy of mine. So you came up at my lunch today, Trey. How are you honored?
I'm just trying to figure out who he works for. Can you give me a hint?
They stopped printing newspapers a couple years ago.
Yeah. Okay. I know who you're talking about.
All right. So lots of stuff to get to, of course. Tennessee surviving, resiliency resiliency from Texas A&M. I think those are the most important words. We've got Arkansas is hiring a football coach. So we will discuss the coaching search for Sam Pittman as well. So dynasties are dead. Vandy is king. Ty Simpson is teaching us all a lesson. Arkansas has to hire a football coach. And yeah. So, yeah, you're right. Nothing else. Texas at Florida this weekend as well. So nothing going on, man.
Trap game. I hate that term, but yes, it could be for Texas.
I don't mind that term. I just don't think it applies to Gainesville.
It all depends on if the defense shows up. But let me rephrase it. The defense will show up. It all depends on DJ Lagway and the offense can actually score more than points.
Yeah, I agree with that. The defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so lots of stuff to get to. M.L. Rose, of course, is 7 great locations across Middle Tennessee, and we have a wing competition. And I've got an updated leaderboard after 5 Saturdays in Nashville, Tennessee, at 7 locations. And there's a point to this because Old Vanderbilt, we've been talking about them. Old Vanderbilt. So we're gonna have to lean to the side here when I put this up. If you're watching on YouTube, by the way, thumbs up, notifications turned on. If you're watching on YouTube, please share the product. If you are, of course, on Twitter, on Facebook, you can share it as well. Are you ready? This is the updated leaderboard.
I'm actually ready.
Here we go. Number one on the list. Move to the other side, Trey. Come on. But there you go.
I didn't know if it was
number one on the list. Tennessee with over 5,000 chicken wings consumed in 5 weeks.
What is
in Nashville, Tennessee.
Jello shots? Good Lord. Okay.
Alabama with 1,300 chicken wings consumed in 5 weeks. Vanderbilt with almost 900 is third because they are acting like regular college football fans. I believe that's Ole Miss. We got Ole Miss over 800. We got LSU over 600. Then we got Georgia at 552. Kentucky at 508. And then it drops off. Auburn, 264. What are we doing? Missouri, 246. Florida, 236. What are we doing? Texas with not even 200 wings.
Who's that last team at 40?
That is Texas A&M.
Oh, shame on you, Aggies. Shame on you.
I mean, they eat cow. You know what I mean? They eat cow.
Whatever.
Out there in Texas. Anyway, look at that. Over 5,000 wings by Tennessee fans.
Wait till, I mean,
total domination.
That's a lot of wings, dude. Okay. And I give credit to Vanderbilt for rolling in third on that one.
Vandy gets a lot of credit, and there's a lot of excitement around the city and around the program and all that stuff. Diego Pavia, Johnny Manziel, the whole deal. Let's start with Arkansas. But go to M.L. Rose, by the way. Go to Arkansas. Go to M.L. Rose. They got great chicken wings. I promise you, they're delicious. I've contributed about I think 24 times. I've contributed about 100 wings to that board. So in 5 weeks. So
what team did you put down on there?
I mean, I put him down on my alma mater first.
I feel you. Okay,
and
I got you.
My brother went to Texas, so I put a couple down on the other UT.
You're just like me, dude. Like you're just like me having to do it. Like mom went to LSU, brothers went to Auburn, dad's a Tennessee guy. I don't, South Alabama's not in the SEC, so I'm screwed. So
but you love Kane Womack, so just put him down on Bama.
Also like John Pelfrey, who played at Kentucky, who I worked under at South Alabama. Yeah, so I'm really, really putting them all together.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a soul. He's a ginger. All right. Let's get to the Sam Pittman of it all.
Yeah.
Look, Bobby Petrino is going to be your interim coach. It sounds like it's an audition. I think that's silly, but whatever. He's supposedly a great offensive mind, formerly a great offensive mind. I don't know. I'm seeing lists. I'm going to go through this systematically here. So, Trey, go with me here.
Okay.
Because I want to get to the real candidates after the fun candidates.
Yes.
Because the list I am seeing out there from people that are not reporters like you and to some degree myself, is not informed by anything. I am seeing, and it's like this is the most boomer list of names I've ever seen in my life. Deion Sanders, Bobby Petrino, Mike Gundy, Dan Mullen, Barry Odom, and the only one on the list that I'm okay with, Gus Malzahn. But he almost retired last year. What are we talking about? That's a ridiculous list of coaches.
Do you know how happy Gus Malzahn is right now at Florida State being the OC and not the head coach of a program? And do you think he really wants to go back and deal with Arkansas of all places?
He doesn't want to recruit.
No, he's just fine running the offense. He's not going. And then, by the way, like Deion Sanders, I'm sorry for all you folks out there that are trying to connect the dots that he interviewed for the job before Sam Pittman got it. But Deion Sanders has proven this year that he is not that good of a coach without some star-ass players.
Oh, I'm shocked by that.
Right. Shocker.
Well, we gonna run the ball left. We gonna run the ball right. I don't want to recruit, so we just gonna run the ball all day long.
Yeah,
that's all Gus wants to do. That's all he wants to do.
I know he does. Better than the current coach at Auburn can't run the ball for shit.
So now let's
or convert a third down.
Well, did you say at Auburn? Is that what you said? Well, that's because the quarterback doesn't know that the forward pass is legal. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Look, it's 2025, not 1925. You can throw forward passes, Jackson. I'm just saying. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to give you what I think is actually their top three candidates. Now, keep in mind, you and I hear things all the time. Reporters hear things all the time. But like until the body's actually buried, like the body's still warm. Like they have to go through a major process here. They have not offered anybody anything. So there are backroom dealings and conversations taking place, but nothing that is ever going to be like, this is a lot of, we're coming at it from other angles. We're coming at it from sort of logical places. And so this is a little bit of, I'm going to call this informed speculation. How about that?
This is also Trace and Jimmy putting out names to get raises. Like, folks, please understand what's about to happen over the next 2 months.
Yeah.
By the way, I love Jimmy. Jimmy Sexton, cool guy, has always been a cool guy to me. But him and Trace Armstrong are going to be floating names like a bad habit for the next 2 months, and all these coaches are going to get raises that they represent.
Do you think Les Miles actually wanted to go to Arkansas all those years? No, I don't think he did.
No.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to do this from an informed speculative standpoint. And I'm going to give you three names, and I want you to tell me if you think this is actually the order with which they should kind of work down the list.
Okay? I got you.
Because, like, I don't know, like Bear Bryant's not an option for them. Vince Lombardi is not taking the job. John Wooden is not available. Okay,
Mark Stoops is not leaving $38 million at Kentucky for the Arkansas job.
No.
Somebody floated that yesterday, by the way. I was like, you need to be drug tested. But go ahead.
Number one on the list, childhood Arkansas fan who is, I think, at a place that you could argue is slightly better than Arkansas, but not in the ACC. And that is, of course, Rhett Lashley at SMU. That's number one. Number two, John Summerall at Tulane may be the future Kentucky head football coach, but is going to be an SEC head football coach. I've said this for 3 years on the show. He is going to be an SEC head football coach. I think John Summerall is their number two target.
Ole Miss.
No, I know. Yeah, I hear you. Number three, I'm going to say Alex Golish at South Florida. Offensive mind, can run an up-tempo scheme, has a little bit of coaching experience, has completely turned around South Florida. If I just said those are their three in order, hypothetically, how would you react to two things? One, is that smart strategy from Arkansas? And number two, how realistic do you think those names are?
I think the first two are realistic. You're going to have to throw a good amount of money at John Summerall for him to agree to Arkansas before other jobs might open up. And the reason why I say that is because we're going to keep talking about this until Florida either makes a decision on Napier, decides to keep him, or he's gone. But when that Florida job opens, they're probably going to have to sit around and wait for a couple playoff teams before you can start Xing names off the list. Like what?
James Franklin.
James Franklin. Right. Exactly. Like, what did you expect John Summerall to come out and say yesterday when he was asked about the Arkansas job? You think he's, oh, you know what? They reached out. I can't make a decision until after the season. No, he praised his players for putting him in this position, for having his name in the news, which is what all of them say. And so, but I think that one's, Rhett Lashley is reasonable. I think John Summerall is reasonable. I think that they would really like for one of those two to take the job before having to go to Alex Golesh. And I mean that in no mean way to Alex Golesh. Alex Golesh, great guy, great football mind, has a great administration around him at South Florida. And I'm not talking about the athletic department. I'm talking about the people he brought in, like Andrew Warsaw. I can name a couple other ones behind the scenes. So I think he would be a good candidate. I think that's taking a risk like Florida took with Billy Napier. I think Golesh needs a few more years.
I agree.
But I agree with the first two. Like those are two coaches that are going to be hot commodities. And so my biggest thing is why would you leave SMU for Arkansas?
I'm so glad you asked, Trey. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
So here's the thing. The two issues that you've already alluded to and that folks are talking about is the financial investment of the boosters around SMU, right? Private jets up to Happy Valley last year. Like they are pouring money into that very wealthy school. They're pouring money into it to compete. Okay. So can you compete with that? You have a lot of upward mobility in the ACC. You could be one of the top 4 or 6 programs at all times. You've got a path to the playoff for the foreseeable future. Understood. Summerall, same thing. Money, big factor. Tulane, very, very wealthy school. Good thing going down there. He can sit and be patient for what he wants in the SEC. Here's the reason I think Arkansas is the number one job available right now. Okay. Even if Wisconsin comes open, I think Arkansas is the better job.
Yes.
Florida, that's different. Florida comes open, Florida's the best job. But for right now, a lot of good jobs are open. Virginia Tech, good job. Oklahoma State, good job. UCLA, good job. We'll see. Financially, a good job. Arkansas is the best because I think here's my take on Arkansas. It is the one program in the SEC that should benefit the most from the changes in the sport. By far should benefit the most because Texas and Georgia and LSU and Alabama, they're all going to have their money, their infrastructure, their personnel, the ability to recruit at a very high level to attract talent in the portal. Arkansas has got a ton of money in Northwest Arkansas. You know, look, I know that there's a tie between Walmart and Tyson and Missouri as well, with little Tyson going to Missouri or whatever. But like, bottom line is, there's a ton of money in Northwest Arkansas. There's a great fan base, 77,000 strong, I think, at that stadium. A lot of history and tradition, most of which championship-wise was before integration, but whatever. The point is they check kind of every box, except for the fact that in the old recruiting world, they didn't have enough talent inside of 6 hours around Fayetteville to compete with 6-hour radius in places like Texas and Oklahoma and Georgia and Florida and LSU and Alabama and Auburn, and then some other bigger programs, Florida State, Clemson in the Southeast. The changes should, and the money and the dedication should allow for them to close that gap the way Oregon has on the entire country. And to me, this is why you should be able to go to SMU and to Rhett Lashley, and you should be able to say to Rhett Lashley, come coach in a financially better conference where you're going to have a higher profile job. Yes, your path to a playoff or to a championship is tougher, but getting to 10-2 is like, if you have all the money Arkansas has, you could get to 10-2 if you've got the right people in place. So I don't know if Rhett Lashley is capable of doing that. I think John Summerall could. I think you have to be patient. You let him build. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, do you agree that that's like Arkansas should benefit the most of any team in the conference with the new rules?
I agree. Yes. Okay. So I agree on that, but I also think, and I get your take on this, throwing it back at you, Arkansas could be the next Ole Miss. meaning
That's right. That's right.
Get an influx of cash, go out and get that roster. By the way, like there's a reason why Arkansas might not be flush with NIL cash right now. It's because the folks that are giving the money know that they wouldn't get a return on their investment under Sam Pittman.
They were keeping their powder dry.
Yes, and guys, the ROI in college football for big donors is watching the coach up on a stage, present a trophy, get presented a trophy, and then at the end of the day, be in contention for the playoffs comes the first week of November. Like that is the return on investment. You're not getting a return on investment. You might get a tax write-off for some of these collectives that do 501s, but I'm just saying in general, that's what you're looking for. So you have to be able to present that opportunity to them. I think talking with folks, Arkansas has got more money than they've been using over the last 2 years on NIL. I've been told. Yes. Numerous people.
We talked on the show all summer. They are keeping their powder dry for when Sam Pittman was gone. Is that unfair to Sam Pittman? Absolutely. Totally unfair. Super nice guy. Unfortunate is what it is. There's also a part of me that thinks that Arkansas was kind of out on him when they hired him. And that 9-win season was sort of like they felt, oh, that's not real. That's an anomaly. We enjoyed it. But they were always kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. And here we are. So now we've got all this money. Let's turn it on. And so so to your point about Ole Miss, I do think Ole Miss and Oregon are running the similar play. What do Ole Miss, Oregon, and Arkansas have in common? They are the biggest brand in a state without any professional sports, with a lot of fans that care. And there are more fans at Arkansas than there are at Ole Miss or Oregon. Now, Oregon is different now because it's been 20 years of building this national, like, cool guy brand or whatever. And Nike's a big deal, so I get all of that. I don't know why Arkansas couldn't do a better version of what Ole Miss is doing. They have just as much. They have more of all the stuff you need that Ole Miss has, and they're closer to Texas. So I don't know. I just think that they absolutely can hire a good coach, and if they get the right coach, they turn the faucet on, the money starts pouring in. They can do what Ole Miss and Oregon have done, and they should. And I don't know why you lower your expectations if you're an Arkansas fan for anything less than that.
By the way, some coaches will take a small discount knowing that they're going to get a bigger pool when it comes to NIL. Like that's the thing that a lot of ADs I've spoken with over the last few weeks. I talked to 2 of them in Athens last week. I've talked to a couple agents about this. Coaches are willing to take, like Mark Stoops is making $9 million at Kentucky. Okay. There are some coaches out there that you would think, okay, you sign to a big school, you got to sign a $10 million deal. No. They'll take 7.5 to 8.
Oh, shucks.
But right. Exactly. But that extra 2.5, 3 to 4 you're going to spend needs to go to the NIL pool.
Like so, defensive lineman.
But what I'm getting is that's how coaches are looking at this now. Like they know they can go make the money.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be there long enough if the damn pool is not filled to at least the 6-foot mark. Maybe not the 8-foot mark, but the 6-foot mark in the deep.
Yeah. So anyway, I think Arkansas should be able to secure a pretty good coach out of this deal. And there's other, Fran Brown at Syracuse, Ryan Silverfield at Memphis, G.J. Kinney at Tulsa. I think Kinney's earmarked for that Oklahoma State job. You got Jeff Traylor at UTSA. I mean, there's a lot of good up and comers. This old guy Boomer
Trey Lamb.
Yeah, that's true. This old guy Boomer retread nonsense. Other than Malzahn, I just don't think is very smart. And even then, I'm not really inspired by Malzahn.
Arkansas, they need an injection of life.
Yeah.
They need, and Calipari, I mean, look, Calipari brought it because he's Calipari. But for football, they need and I'm not trying to be age discriminatory. Discriminatory.
You're an ageist.
You got to have the ability to connect with certain groups of fans. And I think at the same time, you have to be able to, you got to be young enough where you can go hit that recruiting trail as well, brother. And also know that, look, nothing against Sam Pittman, but what were you selling at Arkansas over the past 2 years? Because every coach that was going in the living room behind Sam Pittman in Arkansas was telling those recruits and those transfer portal players, hey, by the way, they're not going to be here in a year.
When transfer players leave your program and go to other teams on your schedule, that is a booster not willing to invest problem. Is what that is.
Yes.
So exactly. I expect that to change. I expect them to turn on the faucet. And the question is, do they hire the right coach coach to maximize all those resources. I'm excited about that if I'm an Arkansas fan, which is what they've been waiting for. Even though Sam Pittman, again, one of the nicest humans I have ever been around in coaching in the SEC. Full stop. All right. ML Rose, everybody. 7 great locations all across Middle Tennessee. Best burgers, best beer tap selection, best wing special on Saturdays, best brunch, best 2-for-1, best ranch sauce. It's just the best. I was watching Dante Moore at Oregon, and I was watching Ty Simpson at Alabama, and I had a thought rewatching those games. Both of them were very patient with their development, and I want to know if you see from Ty Simpson 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. And what I thought was most impressive was how he was orchestrating the entire thing the whole time in a hostile environment. Is that tied to just his ability? Is it tied to I thought the play calling by Grubb and DeBoer in the scheme was fantastic. They called a brilliant game. Georgia's defense is not as elite as we've seen it in the past. So it's kind of all these things. But the thing I keep coming away from watching that Bama game and watching Ty Simpson is he was willing to be patient and be in the system for more than a year while not starting. And when you do that, you are better prepared to handle this shit.
Yes.
Is that a fair analysis of what you saw from Ty Simpson?
I saw a quarterback come out in the first half and dice up Georgia, looked comfortable in the pocket, didn't let the noise bother him, and at the same time was able to kind of run with a certain pace to what Ryan Grubb was trying to do. I think in the second half, Georgia switched up a few things, but at the same time, Ty was converting third downs. Like Ty was hitting across the middle. Ty was Ryan Williams. I mean, look, Ryan Williams dropped a wide open touchdown that me and you probably could have caught. I mean, if there was life or death situation on the line.
All region, Middle Tennessee 5A receiver of the year, 1999. So
congratulations.
Absolutely would have caught it. Al Bundy, baby. Let's go.
Okay, well, I scored 6 goals in a soccer game versus Theodore once. So there you go.
6 goals in a game?
Yeah, but we were already up 5-0, so it was all good. They just put me in to get a laugh. But then I ended up scoring. They were like, why is that fat ass on the field? That fat ass just scored 6 goals on you, so piss off. Dancing Bear, huh? Yeah, no kidding, right? Great place, by the way, in Townsend. I look at, I think what Alabama and Kalen DeBoer did and how they even came out in the second half. Like, Braden, think about it this way, brother. They didn't score a single point in the second half. They only gave up 7 to Georgia. Should have been 10, Kirby. And they still won the football game. So and they did it because of clutch plays by Ty Simpson late in the game to put them over the mark. So I think we saw a different Ty Simpson. First of all, he had time in the pocket that he did not have against Florida State because his offensive line was terrible that day, in my opinion. We just saw a pissed off Alabama team that wanted to go out there and make a statement that, hey, you guys have been shunning us for 4 weeks since that Florida State loss. We are a different team. That was not us. So, like, I think looking at it now and moving forward, he is a weapon. My biggest thing, can he do it 2, 3, 4 times in a row? We're about to find out. But, man, dude, he just went on the road and did it against Georgia in a hostile environment. When let's be honest, there weren't a lot of people picking Alabama to win that football game. And not in the fashion that they did.
I mean, our show, we were like,
I picked Alabama. I mean, I'm talking about other people. I picked Alabama.
I hear you.
But I think he grew up now, though, brother. I want to see him do it next week and then the next week. But man, like, what a big way to say, hey, I'm back.
I just think Dante Moore also looked completely composed. You want to know why? In my opinion, he was willing to sit behind Dylan Gabriel for a year, learn the system, and then be prepared himself for that opportunity. And he was ice cold against Penn State on the roads. Ty Simpson, complete control. And I came away from watching both those games going like, man, maybe quarterbacks should wait a year.
I mean, I went back and watched the Penn State Oregon game. I mean, Dante was slicing up. It's like
totally control.
Popping Zins on the sideline.
No facial. Nobody got too high, too low. They're just in control the whole time. And so what's interesting is pivoting this forward. Like, so now, of course, you got game day. Nashville's buzzing with Vanderbilt talk. They're undefeated. They're scoring 50, 60, 70 points a week. This is the best Vanderbilt team we've ever seen. It's the best Vanderbilt quarterback we've ever seen, the most important player, game day, et cetera, et cetera. it feels Vegas is saying no chance. Vegas is at 10 points, 11 points. They're very much on Bama, unlike last week when they were like, yeah, Bama's got a pretty good chance, 2.5 point spread on the road against Georgia. And so what I find interesting here is you need to see more from Simpson in the offense, like you said, do it again. But what I find interesting are those big chunk plays that Georgia ripped off on the ground. Yeah. And Diego Pavia has not been used the same way as they used him last year. He averaged 15 carries a game last year, 192 carries. It got him hurt at the end of the year because they were running a triple option, basically. He's only averaging 8 or 9 carries a game this year, so it's they're using him a little bit less. And yes, Andrew says maybe Georgia isn't good. Look, if Georgia isn't good, then Tennessee's not good, and then Alabama's not good, and they all can't be bad. So, don't
forget Tennessee put 38 on Georgia. I think Georgia has a couple problems at the linebacker and secondary spot, obviously, but Georgia is still a good football team.
Yeah.
And Diego Pavia, I think the reason why they haven't been rushing him as much through the first 4 or 5 games of the year, they were holding him for October.
Yes, exactly right.
They're about to let him out of the cage, folks.
So that's the question: is can Vanderbilt? Because again, every time Georgia's best play in the game was a running play. I mean, Alabama gave up 230 to Florida State. They gave up
a wide open receiver down the field.
That's true. That's true. They gave up 230 to Florida State on the ground. They gave up 227 on the ground to Georgia, and so. That would be my concern. If I'm Alabama, I'm riding this high. My quarterback's playing great. I'm at home. I think the motivation of losing to Vanderbilt last year is working against Vanderbilt. I think that's a bad thing. But the victory for Vanderbilt in the Clark Lee belief world, don't forget who you fucking are. That helps them too. So I am fascinated by the game. Vegas is not buying Vanderbilt on this. They are buying Alabama all the way. So they're telling you Alabama big at home with their point spread. The question is, does Vanderbilt have the ability to run the football the way Georgia did and Florida State did to take that part of the game away from Alabama? And I don't know.
I think Vanderbilt has enough to take the pressure off Diego Pavia in the pocket by doing enough in the running game, by hitting a couple of 5-6 yard outs, blah, 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 setting it up. Look, man, I know people in this state that I'm in right now that think this is going to be some kind of payback game for the ages, and they're going to go out there and beat the ever-living shit out of Vanderbilt 52-3. Vegas, I know what Vegas is saying, but
let's
have an honest conversation here. I don't think people know how to react to Vanderbilt. I don't think they do. I think that they look at Vanderbilt and they think, okay, they got – not lucky, but they won some games they're supposed to, but now they're about to face a rude awakening against Alabama. Look, I'm not saying Vanderbilt's too deep is as talented as Alabama's too deep, because it's not, but they have a swag about them, a no fucks given mode.
No, I like that. I like that too.
And I like that. And that's why I don't think, as much as the last year vindication and beating Vanderbilt and whatnot, I don't think that plays into a factor. And for Vanderbilt, on the flip side, it's okay, well, we got to go up here and prove it again.
What I mean about the Vegas thing, and Vegas is wrong all the time. Now, they're generally close, though. That's the issue, right?
I agree.
Is that Andrew,
close in Athens.
Andrew and Eddie, what I see with Vegas is not that they're going to get it right. It's that they can tell you when they think a team's going to play well or not.
Yeah.
And they told us last week, Oregon's going to play well, Alabama's going to play well. And guess they both did. When you see a spread like that, that's just 3, 4, 5 points off, it just feels like that they know something, that they think a team's going to play well. Doesn't mean you're going to hit the spread, doesn't mean they're going to win the game. They just think that team's going to play well. And in this game, what this point spread is telling us, 14.5 down to 10, which is, I just checked it again, it's 10.5 right now.
Okay, perfect.
What Vegas is telling you is they think Alabama's going to play well. It doesn't mean they win the game. It doesn't mean they cover the spread. It doesn't mean Vanderbilt doesn't pull off the upset. But that spread is telling you that they think that Bama is going to play well. Not that Vanderbilt's going to play well, that Bama's going to play well.
Yeah, you just pissed me off as well, because I forgot to place my bets online before leaving the state of Tennessee, and now I'm very, very agitated that I did not set my lineup or anything for betting this weekend. I don't know if I might have to drive 2 hours north just to go.
You can get Texas. You can get Texas -6.5 right now. So
I'm just going to go back to offshore betting this week.
You taking Vanderbilt plus the 10.5 right now?
Yes.
I mean, if it goes up to 12, I would take the Vanderbilt. But
I'm
so you think Vanderbilt wins the game? You tell me you don't.
I didn't say that.
All right.
I think Alabama wins by 7 to 10 points in the fourth quarter. They kind of break away.
I think a backdoor cover for Bama is very likely.
Yes.
Dam breaks, garbage time touchdown, field goal, something like that.
Right.
You know, whatever. I tend to agree with that.
I don't think it's just going to be a walk the dog. This is not going to be a walk the dog situation. And I just don't. I don't feel it. Like usually,
doors by 50. Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate that.
I mean,
I needed a laugh.
What if Alabama strolls in, swinging it around, coming off last weekend, and Vanderbilt's like, all right, we're going to pop you in the mouth a couple times in the first quarter. We're going to see if you respond.
Kalen DeBoer's teams, one of the few things he's done really well is play very, very well at home. The quarterback is 10 yards, is extremely efficient, 10 yards per attempt, no interceptions. I'm just saying. I think I'll take Bama. I hope Vanderbilt plays extremely well and shows out. I think they will. I just think Bama wins the game.
And last thing on that, no matter what happens on Saturday, unless Vanderbilt gets Illinois'd like they did against Indiana, Vanderbilt should still be in the top 20 come Monday.
Million percent. Yeah, Vanderbilt should not lose a spot in the rankings if they lose the game. No chance. Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I was saying I don't really care about the rankings. Tennessee and Texas A&M. Tennessee, they get they're off this week. Texas A&M hosts Mississippi State. Both pretty kind of workman-like. I think resiliency is the word I would use for Tennessee. Yep. I would say sort of just handle your business against Auburn for Texas A&M. I don't know how Auburn. I think the walls are closing in Auburn, which is what it is. So we can get into that. I do want to talk who you think the best is, because Georgia and Texas and Alabama and Tennessee and Texas A&M and Ole Miss, because I want to talk Ole Miss here because Kiffin said, he's like, dynasties are dead, And
I think the SEC is wide open.
This year, I think it's completely wide open.
Wide open.
I believe him when he says, I agree with him when you look at the sport and you go, can Kirby Smart and Nick Saban just stockpile 86 5-star players and keep them on the 2 deep and the 3 deep for multiple years and let them wait their turn until they're good to go? That is what builds a dynasty. Tom Osborne did it in the 80s and 90s, where he'd have 300 players on the roster.
Yep.
And the rules over the last 50 years, the rules have consistently diluted the talent across the sport every single step of the way. 105 scholarships down to 85 scholarships, Prop 48. Now NIL, it doesn't matter. Every time we make a change to roster rules in college football, it is designed to push players outward from one place. And that is, Kirby Smart's talked about it. They still might have the best recruiting class, but they don't have 3 5-star defensive ends now. They only have 2.
Correct.
And so where those guys have to go somewhere. And I think that is ultimately, the point that we should take from the conversation around dynasties is that it's just going to be harder and harder and harder to execute. And I think that is, so I agree with Kiffin. I don't know if the death of the dynasty left when Nick Saban left, or if it left when, the rules changed. But I don't think you're going to see 6 championships in 10 years like we did with Saban ever again.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think that if anything, you'll see somebody win 2 out of 5 or something like that.
Sure.
Georgia get on a roll.
Georgia's back-to-back championships were a collection of one set of players, kind of.
Exactly.
It's just this one group that came together and was unbelievably great.
They didn't have to move around much when it comes to the lineup. But I think in this situation, with the way NIL is, with the way the transfer portal is, by the way, we're about to have 1 transfer portal window, not 2.
Good.
Yeah, I know, right? But I just feel like right now, it's so wide open. And even the damn Texas game this weekend against Florida. I know it's being laughed at a little bit, but it wouldn't surprise. No, not like you. No,
Vegas is saying 6.5 points. Vegas is telling us they think Florida's defense is going to play very well.
Right. And that's where I'm interested to see if they can take advantage somehow on the offensive side. And if they can, they make it a game. So I just think, I'm not saying the parity is diminished, but we're starting to see more teams on an equal starting 11, best way to put it, without the deep compared to years past at certain SEC
I
schools.
think so. When I talk to coaches, it's about now it's the players who contribute.
Yes.
So basically, instead of evaluating a top 85 like we have in the past,
right,
you're evaluating the top 44. Basically,
yes.
You're saying, the starters and then the contributors. How good are those two layers of your roster? And if those two layers of your roster are really, really good, you will win a lot of games. But it used to be that we had a third layer at places like Ohio State and Bama and Georgia. And now that has been spread out all across the conference and the country. And that's good for the game. It's why we have right now. And again, I'm going to ask you this in a minute because I want to go to LSU Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But if I ask 16 SEC fans, who's the best team in the conference right now, I might get 16 different answers. So
I don't know.
Like I don't either.
I know you don't, but I'm saying that's why this year is so fascinating to me in the SEC.
I can't believe I'm back to Texas, but we'll get to that in a second.
I don't think you should be back to Texas till they show you something in Gainesville
this week. No, I agree. All right. So the question is, I have Trinidad Shambles, awesome. Ole Miss, awesome. And I think you're seeing some similarities with Lane Kiffin and Dan Lanning and their desire to be aggressive at all times. I think it's great. I think it's the new way to play football, and I think it's smart, especially in tough games. What is the right question to ask about Brian Kelly? Because the truth of the matter is with Brian Kelly, and this season is still very much everything's on the table for them. They could win the whole thing. S&P Plus says it's Tennessee, says Andrew. I don't know about that, but we'll get there. They got plenty of chances to prove it. Here's the thing. Brian Kelly is a championship caliber coach at Grand Valley State? Grand Rapids? Where was he in Michigan? He was at a small school.
Rapid, I thought.
And he won a national championship. Then he went to Mount Pleasant in Central Michigan and won a MAC championship. Then he was at Cincinnati and he was winning, I think it was Big East championships at the time.
Yep.
And then he goes to Notre Dame, and he's the winningest coach in Notre Dame history, passing names like Newt Rockne and getting not only to a BCS championship game, but also to a college football playoff berth multiple times, I think. And so there's that end of his career evaluation. And then there is the LSU evaluation, which is if Coach O and Les Miles can win a national championship at LSU, then by God, Brian Kelly, you have to be able to too. How do we evaluate Brian Kelly?
It's fascinating that we talk so much about the defense, and then when the offense of LSU is the one struggling is the best word to put it. They can't run the damn football right now. And then Garrett Nussmeier is obviously dealing with a, middle of the body injury, and he's not slinging the ball down the field. Okay, here's what it is. I said this under Jimbo Fisher, and I'll see if you agree with me here. I'm not saying he's going to be fired, and I'm not saying he should be fired. But if LSU is not in the playoff conversation come the first week of November, they have a massive problem down in Baton Rouge, and they got to decide if Brian Kelly's the guy for the future.
Wouldn't that be like 2 more losses in the next month?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know they got Bama. I have to look at their schedule. Man, I mean, I don't disagree with your point. I think your point is 100% spot
it's
on.
the same thing as how I said about, like I said, like Texas A&M.
At Vanderbilt, they got South Carolina at Vanderbilt, Texas A&M at Alabama at the end of November 8th. If they're going into those last 3
losses in there,
if they are out of the playoff after the Bama game, that's when I think you're right. There's a major conversation to be had.
Yes.
The problem is again, we just went through this conversation about Arkansas.
I know.
Who do you line up and go, oh, that guy's better than Brian Kelly? There's not many.
I get it, but you have to, and it's kind of like what an article I wrote the other day about. It's like you have to understand that with the NIL in the current era, it's somebody asked me about Auburn. I did a radio hit in Birmingham. And they said, what do you think about the Auburn situation and Auburn moving on? And I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit. You can go back and listen to it on Jocks. Not a shout out or anything. Just free and listen to it. I said, Auburn has invested, Braden, so much money into the roster over the last 2 years that you almost have to let Hugh Freeze see it through for another season. If not, Cam Coleman's gone. Deuce Knight's gone. I could go down the list of players that'll dip out for more money somewhere else. So,
I mean, is LSU different than that?
That's kind of where I'm going in this situation, where we look at Brian Kelly and we automatically think this guy should be in contention for a national championship every single year. And by the way, you should if you're at LSU. You should be in contention for a national championship every season.
Right.
And when I say national championship,
playoff.
I mean the ability to playoff.
Yeah.
Playoff.
I think 10-2 is very real for LSU. Very real.
You think that okay?
If the quarterback is hurt,
one more game.
You get South Carolina at home, you get A&M at home, you get Arkansas and Western Kentucky at home. You're at Vanderbilt. Okay, that's tough. We just talked about Vanderbilt, but the defense will work for LSU. That thing will travel. You lose let's say you lose the Bama game. If you lose the Oklahoma game, then you're 9-3. But that's on the last week of the regular season. Is that enough? That's a win and get in kind of playoff game, which will not age well either if you lose a win and get in kind of game. So I mean, look, this is to me, like, and I'm looking at the, Andrew's list of S&P Plus here, which, Missouri's got Alabama coming up. Vanderbilt's undefeated. How good are they? We'll find out against Bama this weekend. How good is Texas? They're on the road against Florida. Georgia, I think I know what they are, which is good football, but not great.
Team.
I think Tennessee is good football, but not great. I think Bama could be great, but I'm not sure yet. I think Ole Miss could be great, but I'm not sure yet. I think Oklahoma could be great, but they lost their quarterback for a few weeks. So, I just don't know about a lot of this stuff.
What you're saying is it's wide damn open.
Yes, it's completely wide open.
There could be – I don't know who's going to play in Atlanta for the SEC title. Not like it matters.
No, it doesn't.
Anymore. But I'm saying I think I know. I think A&M might be one of those teams playing in Atlanta. But I know, but the crazy part is the way
you got to believe in something that we've never seen before.
I know. I'm just, but
their schedule is the one that's gotten easier and easier and easier as the season has gone on because Florida, Arkansas, South Carolina aren't as good as we thought. Right. They've already beaten Auburn. They got Mississippi State at home. That LSU and those Missouri road trips back to back are pretty big deal for A&M.
Do you think? Okay, I'll ask you this: if Brian Kelly has 3 losses at the end of the year, doesn't make the playoff,
he's not fired.
Okay.
I just think if you are one game away, you don't fire the guy prematurely. You let him see it through.
I agree, but I can go ahead and tell you what the naysayers are going to say. That you had 2 quarterbacks in your system during your time there that were projected to be top 5, top 10 kicks, and you couldn't do jack shit with them.
Hey, James Franklin's still employed at Penn State, so
that's because all right, that's fine. James Franklin can be employed at Penn State for the rest of his career if he wanted to, in my opinion.
1-18 against conference opponents ranked in the top 10. 1-18. That's my favorite one.
You know what the best part about all that was on Saturday is I finally got to go back and watch a little bit of it. I watched every snap.
They were chanting "Fire Franklin" when they were down 17-3 in the fourth quarter.
That's the best part about the whole damn game is them firing Franklin chants, and then Penn State marches down the field, ties it up, they go to overtime. You got Dan Lanning on the sideline doing the throat slash after going up 17-3. Then Franklin them come back.
This might sound crazy, and I'm not trying to piss off Georgia fans here.
Whatever.
But Dan Lanning might be the best coach in college football.
Yes. And he looked like that he had, just
that dude is intense, man. He is
thing of smelling salts before his interview with NBC.
No shit. He was like
my dude was jacked.
He's grinding his teeth. He's like,
it's like,
not that I know. Not that I know what you're talking about.
No. I'm just saying,
college is a hell of a drug.
You got that right. But the cojones on him also to go for on that 4th down, score that touchdown, that was great. But then the James Franklin thing,
I want to say, I think I looked this up. You guys listening can fix this if I get it wrong. I want to say the Penn State Oregon game and the LSU Ole Miss game. I want to say it was 11 of 14 on 4th down combined between the two teams because I think Oregon was 5 of 7, and I think Penn State was like 4 of 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then LSU I think was 2 of 2, and I think Ole Miss was 2 of 2 on 4th downs. And then I went and looked at the Bama Georgia game, and of course neither one converted on 4th down, and only 2 of them were attempted. I was like, that's the most Georgia Alabama thing I've ever heard of in my life. So, all right. So quickly then, we're already kind of talking about the number 1 team in the league here. It sounds like you if you and I don't like doing power rankings, but I'm not trying to get you to tell me who's going to play in Atlanta. I just want to know who's the best football team right now in the conference. And I think if Texas goes down there and beats Florida in a very impressive way, I don't think we have enough information on Missouri yet. We're going to find out about Vanderbilt. A&M's been tested. You can't say it's Tennessee.
Nope.
If they've already given up 40 plus points at home and lost to Georgia, they needed 2 defensive touchdowns, which is very rare to beat Mississippi State, an improved Mississippi State team, albeit. It can't be LSU because of the offensive problems. It could, in theory, be A&M or Ole Miss, but I don't think we need to be stuck in the 0-loss thing either, which is why I'm still okay with Bama or Tennessee being in the conversation. So, like, are you talking about Tennessee? Andrew, are you talking about Tennessee being down 4 starters on defense? I mean, they're I think that's what he's talking about. The secondary.
Yeah, they get
secondary's pretty beaten up.
Yeah, they had 2 down the secondary, Jackson Moya and Hobbs on the defensive line, which they should have those guys back, not the secondary part. Please do not report that shit.
They got the bye week. Yeah. So if again, I don't know who's going to be playing the best football a la South Carolina last year at the end of the season. I don't know if Ole Miss can sustain this. I don't know if A&M can sustain this. I don't know if Missouri can sustain this. We'll find out about Vanderbilt. I don't like that my answer is Texas right now, but I could be wrong on Saturday.
I don't either, and you could be wrong on Saturday, but I think I trust Texas defense obviously more than I trust the Ole Miss defense. Is that fair?
Yeah, totally.
Right. So if Arch Manning can get it going and not against teams that he's eating for dessert as cupcakes, then okay, they're in play as the number 1 team in the conference. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin would probably say to the contrary.
How fascinating would it be if Ole Miss, the year after the entire organization and booster structure and state of Mississippi put all the chips in the middle of the table to make the playoff, and they screw it up because they can't beat Kentucky at home in the 4th quarter, and then the next year they put a backup quarterback in and they go undefeated and win the whole.
Not just a backup quarterback, a kid that was playing at Ferris State.
Yeah.
When the whole world was thinking it was going to be an Austin Simmons type of year.
So I don't like this, but obviously they're at Georgia, at Oklahoma, but Washington State coming up after a bye is
where the hell is that going to be on the
No,
CW?
you know that was supposed to be
USC.
And Lincoln Riley got scared. South Carolina, Citadel, Florida, Mississippi State are their last 4. Ole Miss is absolutely – they are this year's like Tennessee last year.
Yes.
Like use this schedule to go 10-2 and get into the playoff. And it doesn't mean they're not good, by the way.
If you screw it up, you got nobody to blame but yourself.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. Because you can lose to Georgia and Oklahoma now, and they don't have another ranked team on their schedule.
It's
whereas
no 10-2 Indiana team is going to take your spot. It's going to be because you lost games that you shouldn't have lost.
And Indiana's freaking good, dude. That is not a fake. That is not. If they go 11-1 like last year, last year they were not this good. They're better this year.
I'm not putting it past Indiana to go out to Oregon and win next week.
They play on the other side of the line all the time.
I know.
It is impressive. Tennessee's got a road trip to Alabama, Oklahoma at home, Vanderbilt at Florida. They never win that game. Tennessee could peak at the right time after the Alabama game.
It all depends on John Mateer. Yeah, because they'll beat Arkansas, in my opinion. They'll beat Arkansas. And then
Mendoza, Andrew says Mendoza is okay. Mendoza is the best quarterback in the country right now.
Mendoza's the business right now.
He is the best quarterback in the country.
He's badass. Go watch him play this next weekend when he goes to Oregon and Eugene. Like my man is good.
Mateer, Dante Moore, Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza might be the 4 quarterbacks playing the best football in the country right now. If Mateer was healthy, of course.
Yeah, and I think Marcel Reed will also make a case for that down the road.
He's not on the tier that I saw those other guys on.
Far. I mean, I'm not talking about Heisman Trophy winner. I'm just talking about top 10 quarterback in the country.
I mean, right now, NFL scouts are talking him as 1.1.
Yeah.
Like the number 1 pick in the draft is how NFL scouts are talking about him right now. What is he, like 6'6", 235? He's like Andrew Luck.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Andrew Luck's the best prospect I've ever covered when I was at Rivals. Andrew Luck's the best quarterback prospect.
I love that he also apologized for screwing up the second half betting line last weekend. with that safety. He was like, my bad. I'm sorry. I know I pissed off a lot of bettors out there when I ran backwards for 8 seconds for a safety and the line was 5.5 and I moved it to 5 with my safety.
It's
so,
very it's very Lane Kiffin of him, actually.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. What Missouri, of course, dominated. Vandy dominated. We already talked about quietly South Carolina could like work their way back into this thing. They destroy in the Sunglass Bowl. They destroy Mark Stoops in Kentucky. Kentucky, I said, was going to bottom out this year. They are now a 3-touchdown underdog against Georgia. Normally, they cover against Georgia. I don't think that's happening this weekend.
I was about to say a bad word, really bad word. How screwed is Kentucky right now with a $38 million buyout hanging over their head is the only way to get out from the Mark Stoops era, unless he pulls a Calipari and takes another job and doesn't have to worry about
that. If Kirk Ferentz retires, he goes to Iowa in 2 seconds. And Kirk Ferentz has coached for 27 years, I think.
Okay, but how do you do that, though, bro? $38 million. And by the way, they got to pay you that whole amount in 60 days.
That's his home, though. Dude, is Iowa City.
You know? I don't give a shit. I would be as horrible as Kentucky. I could in Lexington until they had to walk in there and say,
no, I hear you.
Fine. Here's your $38 million. Go away.
Georgia, Texas, Tennessee. So 3 top 15 teams in a row, starting with Georgia this weekend.
Yeah.
And then they have 3 road trips: Auburn, Vanderbilt, and Louisville. And then, of course, they host Florida and Texas Tech. There might be one more win on the schedule for Kentucky. They might be owing it. I said they were going to bottom out this year. They were the worst team in the league.
I got a piece coming out here a little bit on that.
Oh, all right.
How the mighty have fallen. And when I say mighty, I mean what happened in 2022, coming off that 10-3 year. Stoops signs the contract, and all of a sudden it goes to hell in a handbasket. And they give him that crazy ass deal where he's making $9 million a year, and nothing against Stoops. I like Stoops, but you're not.
I think he's a good dude. Yeah, I like Stoops too.
Really good dude. Really good dude. But whoever agreed to that contract that was written up by his agent deserved to be fired. Yes, Mitch Barnhart.
All right, what else you got for the good folks? What do you got? What are you working on? It sounds like you're working on some Stoops content. What else you got coming out?
No, it's Stoops content.
Outkick.com.
Stoops content's coming out here in just a little bit. I took a deep dive into that, how they're just kind of stuck right now. Like they can't do anything unless they want to pay him the money. Like, or if he pulls a Calipari and leaves, or and then we wouldn't have been in this spot if Texas A&M literally at the last second while Stoops is on the way to the private air terminal to fly to College Station says, "Hey, by the way, we're good." No, a lot of content coming up.
No. We're good.
Yeah, turn the car around. Don't get on that damn plane. A lot of stuff coming up this week. Obviously, we'll be at Alabama Vanderbilt, which should be fun. It should be a good time. And
Kent State might be the worst team in all of college football. They're at Oklahoma, 45-point spread.
Is that what it is? Is it 45-point spread?
45.5, actually, if you want the hook. Mississippi State at Texas A&M is intriguing to me because I do think the Mississippi State's improvement is real. And
who's got a better chance of covering? What game? Alabama Vanderbilt or Mississippi State A&M? Gotcha.
That's a good question.
I think Mississippi State is riding a high right now. Even though they lost last weekend, I think that team played really well.
There is this weird inherent when will A&M do something Aggie? And why you all Aggie about it?
Why you all Aggie?
And I think this is sort of one of those games. I don't want to put too much importance on this because the Vanderbilt game for Alabama is more important. The Texas game is more important to learn information about those teams. But I do think that if A&M sort of like handles its business, and because one of the things that you learn about great teams that go on to be great, are that they when they play an overmatched opponent, especially at home, they handle their business. They don't mess with them. They just do the damn thing. And so if they beat Mississippi State, 38-14 or 38-21, and it's kind of around a 14-point spread, but they handle their business, then I think I can start to really be hey, this A&M thing is for real because they've been challenged. I mean, road win at Notre Dame, beating Auburn, those are quality wins to some degree. And so Mississippi State's they are a far better football team right now than they were this time last year. They deserve to be in that game against Tennessee. Probably should have won the game, frankly. And at the end of the day, if they go down there and Texas A&M just kind of stiff arms them and says, no, we good, then I think you can start to look at A&M in a little different light and say, okay, all this stuff we're seeing it's real. So we'll see.
I'm fascinated with what happens with Missouri as well, because I know
Next week, baby, Alabama on the road.
I know that. And game day is contemplating that game or the Oklahoma-Texas game, I am told. So,
well,
they're going to be going to the SEC again next week.
Okay.
Where would you go?
I haven't looked at the schedule for
no. Would you go Oklahoma, Texas, or would you go Missouri, Alabama? I guess it all depends on this.
I think it depends on what Texas and Alabama do this week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I should have looked ahead. That's the same thing ESPN's doing. I did something stupid.
Let me see here. FBS. You're saying week 6 or no week 7, right?
They should. I thought they would go to Indiana, Oregon, but from the PR email I just got, looks like they're deciding between the Cotton Bowl game and Missouri.
It's going to be hard to argue with Texas and Oklahoma from a pure rivalry standpoint. Man,
hopefully John Mateer is healthy.
Let me see here. Hang on, I want to look at. You said Oregon, Indiana's the only other one that's like worth looking at.
I think it is.
Let me see here. Florida A&M, no. Georgia Auburn's good, no. Ohio State at Illinois could be salty. Illinois is not a great host for that. But putting Ohio State on television is always a smart idea. I mean, right now Oklahoma, Texas is 5 versus 9. It's going to be hard to overcome that.
I know.
Indiana, Oregon, man. Outson Stadium's always a great host, but the nighttime and the travel, it costs a lot of money to do that. Michigan, USC. That's big time. That's
an NBC game. They're not going to give them props.
Yeah, that's true. This is great podcasting. But that looks like I think you're right. I think I imagine it's Texas, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So that was my guess. All right, Outkick.com for all Trey's work at Trey Wallace _ on the Twitter machine. You can get to him on Instagram. You can get to me. Thumbs up, notifications turned on. Wing Wars at ML Rose all across the Middle Tennessee area here in Nashville, Tennessee. Look at that, Tennessee. 5,000 wings in 5 Saturdays.
That's a lot. Okay.
That's a lot of fried food. They are delicious, man. They're amazing.
I know they are. I know.
They're fantastic.
I know.
Okay, don't hate.
I ain't hating.
For Trey, go to ML Rose, everybody. For Trey, I'm Braden. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.